Welcome everybody to the next episode of KapVista Klips. Here we've got Jerry and Tim from HydraCell, and they're going to be talking about their offering and the and what they're up to. Hi guys, how are you?
Yeah, well, thank you.
Awesome. We'll jump straight into it. Tell us your story. How did you get here? Tell us the story behind HydraCell and how you two came together, or how the greater team came together, in fact.
Okay, so I guess HydraCell was born in an incubation lab in Salt Lake City about 8 years ago. A couple of scientists with the vision to find technologies that would make a sustainable difference to the world and the people that live in the world. HydroLite effectively progressed through that from a corporate perspective, and the technology got bought out by HydroLite International, which is an Australian public unlisted company. That technology has been significantly advanced over the last 8 years, to the point now where we're starting to commercialize it. So we have defined manufacturing arrangements with our manufacturers, comprehensive R&D team, not only at our contract manufacturer factories, but also our own team. Yeah, we're now in the process of commercializing. So that's the quick story of HydraCell and HydroLite. How we kept, so I've been in the business for about 3 years. I'm the CEO of the business. I was brought into the business by my previous boss, who has been the funder of HydroLite for the last 3 years. Previous to being part of HydroLite, I was running a software company, a global software company in the hospitality industry. Won the largest hotel contract in the world just prior to leaving, and we tripled the size of that business with the business owners, who then invested into HydroCell and asked me to come across and help with the commercialization. In terms of the team, we have a comprehensive team around the business. Myself as CEO, we have two product guys in terms of innovating the technology and really taking us into the battery space. The two of the founders who continue to drive the innovation and the product forward, and we now got a real strong commercial team around the business. So Tim heads up our commercial team, so I'll throw across to Tim to allow him to give a quick overview of him and his team.
Yeah, thanks, Jerry. Yeah, Daniel, I spent about 4 years with McKinsey, actually, here in Australia, as a leader in their consumer retail marketing and sales team. And post coming out of that and doing my own consulting, came across the HydraCell and HydroLite team, and have been working with them to build that strategy over the last 12 months to the point now where we are commercializing it globally, as Jerry just mentioned.
Awesome. So tell me about HydroLite. Putting my consumer hat on, what's the technology?
Okay, so we've developed a water activated battery. Basically, it's a battery that you dip into water and it starts the reaction of creating electricity. So the three main characteristics around a HydroCell, outside of the fact that you dip it in water, is that it's a clean tech cell, so there's no poisons or chemicals in the cell. So our ultimate aim and mission is to eliminate 15 billion batteries that end up in landfill every year across the globe. We have an ulterior motive where we believe that we can really change the lives of people in the developing world, people that are using kerosene and diesel and all sorts of carbon-based fuels for just for their lighting needs. But ultimately, we really want to become a commercial alternative and a viable alternative for batteries that end up in landfill. So characteristic number one is it's a clean tech cell. Number two, it has longevity of shelf life. So nothing happens to our cell until such time as you activate it in water. So you can leave our cell on the shelf for 10, 15, 20 years. It still has 100% of the power that it's got today. So ideal from a consumer perspective, but also ideal from many other applications around emergency preparedness and many other industries, military, security, etc. And thirdly, it has enhanced performance. So from a performance perspective, we push out just as much power as a traditional battery, a C cell, a D cell, a 6-volt battery. In fact, our 6-volt way outperforms a battery. But from a performance in terms of length, our cell produces a significant amount more power than a traditional battery. So we've got two form factors at the moment, our proprietary form factors, but they would be anywhere between 5 to 15, from a continuous use perspective, 5 to 15 times a normal battery.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So then in terms of costing, what does it look like from a consumer's point of view to purchase, let's say, the Hydrolite?
Yeah, look, so at the moment we're, as Joe said, we have two proprietary cell sizes and they work in our flashlight, torch and lantern range that we produced. Those, when put together, I would suggest is about a 20 to 25% premium to a regular battery. But as Jerry said, the sort of 5 to 15 times longevity, the value equation is actually significant when you put it in regard to that. We're currently in the development stage of commercializing a 6-volt battery, a 6-volt battery being those big square ones that you would put in torches. And that will be our first standard size battery that will go into the market.
Okay, so in terms of costing, it's not much more than your traditional batteries, but the power is far outweighs it. The longevity far outweighs it. So it's cheaper in the long run to buy something like yours. It's cleaner and it's better for the environment. So that's a big win.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, and when we've when we are rolling this out now nationally here in Australia, we've got an exclusivity period with Total Tools, one of Australia's sort of largest industrial tool manufacturer. Our core target consumer is the sort of outdoor enthusiast. If you think about the truck tradies, as we lovingly know them, they are avid outdoor folks, right? They get out with camping and caravanning and 4-wheel driving and out trail bike riding and fishing and all those sorts of things on weekends. So we have done a 3-month exclusivity period with Total Tools, and that's literally, we have stock going out to stores all over Australia as we speak. We're up at a marine show in Queensland with them on the weekend. And so for us, the reaction that people get to exactly those points that Jerry raised and you've just highlighted there is phenomenal, right? Almost a bit too good to be true in some regards when they see that this actually does work by dipping in water, and the oxygen interaction there just creates this enormously powerful battery fuel cell. And by making a simple decision to move over to this, they're doing right by the planet.
Yeah, perfect. So given that you're in the sustainability space, what can you tell me about the industry? Because I know from a consumer focus or a consumer purchasing power, the focus has been on, and largely for the last few years, shifting towards a more sustainable future. The idea of climate change and doing something to save the planet has been a focus on not just the consumer, but governments around the world. So what you're doing is really in the space, but what does it look like from an industry point of view?
Yeah, it's interesting. Actually, there's a Battery Council of Australia that's been formed, and all the major retailers are on that, trying to come up with the right ways to be able to recycle and dispose of batteries, because at the moment about 97% of the 15 odd billion batteries that Jerry mentioned annually go to landfill. You go to an office work store at the moment and you see that out the front there they have, return your old mobile phones here, your ink cartridges here, your batteries here, right? So it is a major issue as you highlighted. I think the two things that from our perspective that really does help to accelerate us into this space is, one, that there's no harmful chemicals or acids or otherwise that go into it. And so that leaching into the soil in the planet is horrible, right? Does it for decades. So we're fixing and solving for that. The second part then is, once it's used up, if you will, once it's lost all its charge and being used, it can be fully recycled. It's a plastic outer casing at the moment. We are also in development of moving that from a plastic casing to a bamboo composite at some point. We've got a little way to go on that, but we think that also then it makes it combustible.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Okay. So well done on the Total Tools exclusivity, but what's the milestones you've hit, and what does the next sort of 6 months look like?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting actually. So we've got two core markets that we've really focused on here in the US. So here, Total Tools, as mentioned. The second launch that we're going to do nationally will be in July or August, and that will be with BCF nationally. So boating, camping, fishing, and they're the two major retailers that we're focused on over the next 6 months here in Australia. We're also in the process of just setting up our own online direct-to-consumer store and looking at a couple of different sort of online marketplaces for the sort of the outlets called the outdoor enthusiast around that. So we'll have our own direct-to-consumer as well as a couple of selected sort of online marketplaces that we'll also sell through for here in Australia. And that's really is our primary focus for here. In the US, we're this week we'll be up and running on Amazon, and that will be our number one, let's call it online direct-to-consumer focus for the US. We have an agency, a master agent that we have in the US that has, hundreds of reps that they use to sell in and across the US in all channels. And similar to here, we'll be targeting through them. We're just setting up with them, but we'll be targeting through them outdoor leisure, hardware, and some of the other specialty retailers, sporting goods and otherwise across the US that we'll also be targeting. So primary focus, Amazon. I mean, it's an enormous cat retailer, as we know, in the US, and then we're going to move to selected retailers beyond that through our agency model.
Perfect.
Sorry, and one other. We also have a distributor in Germany, and he's been with us for the last couple of years, and he is progressing very quickly into multiple markets across Europe. Germany being the first, but we just finalised an agreement with him for multiple markets.
Awesome! Wow, well done. Okay, so the industry is focusing more on sustainability, so you're primed in that aspect. Everybody knows what the traditional solution is and the effect that it has on landfill and on the environment. So there's a cultural shift. But where do you see the next sort of 5 years going? What's in terms of the industry and in terms of your company? Where do you want to see yourself? Is it focusing just on batteries for personal devices and torches and things like that, or where do you want to see the company, and how does that fit with the cultural shift?
Yeah, I mean, Daniel, ultimately we want to become a battery company, right? We've developed our own torches and our proprietary cells to start getting the technology out there, and that was part of the technology roadmap as we understood the technology and perfected it. But ultimately we want to become a battery company. So we've got our first phase of battery substitutes, or batteries that can go into any application that uses a battery, so a torch, a lantern, a radio controlled car, etc. And those will come out in 2 phases. So phase 1, 6 volt, which Tim's spoken quite a bit about, D cells and C cells. So you will have a sealed D cell battery that you dip in water. It seals the water in there, and you can put it into any torch or any device that uses that. Our second phase of the rollout will be the AA's and the AAA's, and we anticipate that would be 18 months thereafter. So certainly by 2023, we'll be in production of the first phase, the 6 volts, the D cells and the C cells, and thereafter we'll continue to innovate the technology to deliver the A's and AAA's. I think we've won, to use a phrase, when someone walks into Bunnings, as an example, and says, "I want a HydraCell." At the moment, we're doing a fantastic job in terms of commercializing and getting traction through the retailers and getting, second and third orders and getting distributors. But ultimately, we need the consumer to come in and understand that we are absolutely a battery company, and we're a clean tech alternative to traditional batteries.
Awesome. Wow. Okay. Well, you're on the right path. So now getting into the good bit, tell us about the raise. How much are you raising? What's it being used for? And what's the offer?
Okay, so we're raising up to $5 million through a safe note. What are we using it for? Effectively, it's all about commercialization, right? We got a little bit of innovation and tooling to pay for through our factories as we continue to deliver the battery substitutes, but really that is immaterial relative to the capital raise. The capital raise is all about growth and accelerating growth. So it's about production, to get units out there, to get batteries out there so that we can sell them, and all the marketing and sales initiatives that come around that.
Yep, awesome. So $5 million you're looking to raise. It's for growth. Is that for production of supply, or is it to break into new markets? Because as you've said, you've got Australia, the US, and Europe through Germany. But what does that look like? From an investor's point of view, if they give you the $5 million, what's the projection? Do you have those the demand on those networks, or is it building marketing and advertising channels?
Yeah, no, certainly the sales and marketing expenditure that Jerry just mentioned is all about driving scale here in Australia and into the US predominantly, where we will be investing most of those. Obviously, the US is the largest market in the world for this particular segment, and making sure that we really deliver on that. As Jerry said, we are a product company. We do have to manufacture, and there is working capital that's got to go into that production side of it. So they're really the three main areas. We don't expect a lot to be of other sort of costs in the way that we've set the model up to be relatively light on sort of fixed overheads, if that makes sense. That allows us then to produce, and hence why we do use a network of contract manufacturing facilities. It means that we don't have to invest in our own facilities, while we still do own the technology, etc. So it's fantastic from that perspective.
So from that point of view, you can scale into a new market just by connecting with a new production facility, finding an agreement and scaling. So you're reducing the transportation and logistics costs.
Yeah, so that is a big part of on the supply chain side, which our team have been doing quite a bit of work on actually, which is very much about setting up production hubs in various locations around the world to minimize the lead time to market, but also the footprint that we need in terms of logistics, etc. And so we're producing closer to the point of consumption.
Yeah, and that's from a cost perspective, you're saving money on logistics, but also from a green initiative. You're also saving that carbon footprint by transporting around, which is really living up to the ethos of your company. So well done. And I mean, you've said you mentioned it initially when we first started talking about the applications. Now, your first market is that outdoors camping sort of market, but there is a massive opportunity, especially in the defense side of it. Defense.
Defense, emergency preparedness, safety. You think about things, simple things, because of our technology, it doesn't spark. So even being able to go down into mines as an example, in that area, the preppers, as we like to call them, across the US is an industry in of itself. Making sure that from the long-term sort of safety and rescue preparedness is a big market. So, we will continue to evolve things like our torch range, but as Jerry mentioned, it's not our primary focus. Our primary focus is the batteries that then can be used in any consumer electronics, and that is our focus, right? Consumer electronics, a clean, green, high performance alternative to your Energizers and Duracells. You guys are just going to be pretty down the line of where we're going to compete.
Yep, perfect. All right, we'll leave it at that. But thank you very much for jumping on with me. It's been great to hear about your innovations and the future for your battery company. I think you're in a prime position, especially with the changing in consumer spending and consumer interests and the whole sustainability piece. I think you're in a prime position. So well done. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do, especially with the agreements that you have from a commercialization aspect and the growth plans. But if any investors are interested in knowing more, the details will be at the bottom of this clip, and I can connect you with the team from HydraCell. But thanks, guys, for jumping on. It's been great to chat.
Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate it.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.